I feel like I can't walk 5 feet these days without seeing an election poster. It's that time of year again.
Oh, absolutely.
The vans are driving around with the loudspeakers, the candidates are wearing those white gloves, and the airways are just absolutely saturated with promises.
It is definitely noisy out there right now.
It is. But, amidst all the noise, there's this one specific phrase that I keep hearing over and over again. It's almost become a chant at this point. Consumption tax cut.
Or abolish it, yeah.
Or abolish it entirely. And I have to be honest with you, on a visceral level, it sounds fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. It's the ultimate crowd pleaser.
Right. I mean, who doesn't want everything they buy to suddenly be 10% cheaper? You go to the convenience store, your coffee is cheaper. You buy a new laptop, you save a chunk of change. It feels like a direct raise for everyone in the country.
Mhm.
It appeals to that part of my brain that just wants a heavier wallet.
It certainly does. It's a very attractive headline.
But, and you know me, I always have trust issues when things sound too simple. I started looking through this massive stack of research you brought in today, and I started getting this sinking feeling. It's that specific anxiety you get when you're out at a really fancy dinner with a huge group of friends.
I know exactly where this is going.
Everyone is ordering the lobster, everyone is ordering the expensive wine, they're laughing, having a great time. And then you look around the table and realize, wait a minute, I don't think anyone actually brought their wallet.
That is, unfortunately, a painfully accurate analogy for the situation we were discussing today.
So that is our mission for this deep dive. We are going to put the campaign slogans on mute for a second. We're going to look past the free lunch promises and try to find the hidden bill. We're going to trace the plumbing of Japan's social security system to figure out exactly where the money comes from, why the math is getting, well, pretty scary, and why our sources are warning about a triple whammy.
And fair warning to you, the listener. Once we unpack this plumbing, you might never look at your pay slip or a politician the same way again.
I've got my mental pay slip ready. So set the stage for us. When a politician stands on top of a van and yells, "Let's cut taxes," what's the part they usually whisper or leave out entirely?
They're glossing over the sheer mechanical scale of the machine they're trying to fund. We have a detailed breakdown here of Japan's Social Security funding, alongside some OECD data that is honestly pretty startling. The core tension is this. We have a massive world-class social safety net pensions, healthcare, nursing care. It's something to be proud of.
Sure.
But the foundation of that system isn't the rich, and it isn't the government in some abstract sense.
Who is it then?
It's the working-age middle class. And the cracks in that foundation aren't just hairline fractures anymore. The concrete is starting to crumble.
Okay, let's get into the weeds. When we talk about funding Social Security, I think most people have a vague idea. I pay my taxes, the government takes the money, puts it in a vault, and then pays for grandma's hospital visit. Is it that simple?
Not at all. And this is the first huge misconception we need to clear up. If you look at the breakdown of Social Security revenue, it actually comes from 3 specific buckets, or pillars. And here's the thing that surprises most people. Tax isn't even the biggest one.
Really? I feel like tax is all we ever talk about.
That's the political distraction.
Yeah.
But if you look at the hard data, the biggest bucket making up approximately 60% of the entire funding source is social insurance premiums.
60%.
Yes, this is the money deducted directly from your paycheck. Health insurance, pension, nursing care, employment insurance.
See, I think most people just mentally lump that in as taxes. It's all money the government takes before I see it. Does the distinction actually matter?
It matters immensely because the way they are calculated is completely different. Income taxes are usually progressive, meaning the more you earn, the higher percentage you pay. It scales up.
Right.
But social insurance premiums operate more like a subscription fee.
A subscription fee like Netflix.
In a way.
Yeah.
They're often flat rates or they have caps. And because Japan leans so heavily on this specific bucket, 60% of the total, the burden falls disproportionately on the working generation, specifically the middle class, rather than the super wealthy or the asset-rich elderly.
So we're leaning harder on the subscription model than the tax the rich model.
Precisely. Now, looking at the OECD data in our source material, Japan is quite unique here. Countries like Germany and France also have high premiums. But in those countries, they also have higher income taxes and VATs to balance the load. Japan is unique because our consumption tax is actually lower than in Europe, and our effective income tax rate for the average worker is relatively low.
That sounds good on paper, though. Low income tax.
It sounds good until you realize that because those tax buckets are smaller, the entire weight of the safety net crushes down on the premiums. And because premiums are regressive, it creates a specific torture zone for the middle class.
Torture zone is a strong phrase. Who specifically are we talking about here?
The data highlights the upper middle bracket. Households earning between, say, 6 and 8 million yen a year.
Which is a solid income. That's a respectable professional salary. You shouldn't be struggling at that level.
You shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But let's look at the ouch factor. If you're in that bracket and you're on national health insurance, say, a freelancer, a small business owner, or a retiree, your insurance premiums alone can reach nearly 1 million yen per year.
Whoa, wait a second. Run that back. 1 million yen just for health insurance.
Just for the privilege of having the card in your wallet. That doesn't include your pension payments.
Yeah.
That doesn't include the 30% copay you still have to pay at the counter when you see a doctor. That is just the premium.
That is staggering. I mean, 1 million yen is a compact car. That's a luxury vacation for the whole family. That's a huge chunk of your post-tax reality.
It is. And here's the cruelty of the math. If you earn 3 million yen, there are reduction measures. The government says, hey, you're struggling, let's discount your premiums. But if you earn 6 to 8 million, the government says, you're doing great, you pay full price.
So you're rich enough to pay, but not rich enough to not feel it. You're in the uncanny valley of financial pain.
Exactly. You are the cash cow of the system.
But wait, I have to play devil's advocate here. That's for people on national health insurance. Most of our listeners are probably corporate employees, salarymen, office workers. They're thinking, well, sucks to be a freelancer, but I'm safe. My company pays half my insurance.
The company split myth. This is one of those pervasive illusions in the Japanese economy.
Illusion. It's right there on the payslip. Company contribution.
It is on the slip. But I want you to think about this from the perspective of the CFO of your company. When they hire you, they have a budget for your role. Let's say you cost the company 10 million yen a year.
Okay, total cost of employment.
Right. The company does not care if they give you 10 million in cash or if they give you 8 million in cash and send 2 million to the government. To them, the cost of labor is simply 10 million.
Right. It's all just personnel expenses on the spreadsheet.
So when social insurance premiums go up, which they have been doing steadily for decades to pay for the aging population, the company has to pay more to the government. That company portion increases. Since their total budget for you hasn't magically increased, where does that money come from?
It comes out of the money they would have given me as a raise.
Bingo. It suppresses your wages. The source explicitly links this to Japan's 30 years of stagnant wages. People ask, why haven't I gotten a raise? The answer is, you did get a raise. But the government took it before you ever saw it, labeled it company contribution, and put it into the pension fund.
That is profoundly depressing. My raise is currently paying for someone else's hip replacement, and I didn't even get a thank you card.
It's the hidden cost of labor. And it means the burden is still falling on you, the worker, just indirectly.
Okay, so the middle class is getting squeezed from both sides, direct premiums and suppressed wages. But surely, if the system is this desperate for cash, they must be taxing the wealthy just as hard, right? Please tell me there's some fairness here.
Well, this is where we have to talk about the loophole.
Of course there's a loophole. Why wouldn't there be?
It's a structural flaw in how Japan calculates premiums, and it allows some wealthy individuals to pay, well, pennies compared to that middle-class family we just talked about.
Is this tax evasion? Are we talking about illegal offshore accounts?
No, this is perfectly legal. It's about how premiums are calculated.
Okay, walk me through it. How does it work?
In the current system, your insurance premiums are calculated based on the base income or standard monthly remuneration of the specific insurance plan you're in. The source cites a specific case that made news recently, involving a politician from the Asian party. But forget the politics for a second. Focus on the mechanics, because anyone could do this. This individual had multiple income streams, likely investments, other business interests, maybe some real estate.
Okay, so he's doing well.
Very well. But he was also a board member of a foundation. He joined the health insurance plan through that board member position. Now, because he could control his own compensation there, he set his salary from the foundation very, very low.
Let me guess. The insurance premium is calculated based only on the salary of the job providing the insurance.
Correct. In Japan, we generally don't aggregate income for social insurance. If you make 100 million yen in stock dividends, but your salary at the job that gives you insurance is only 50,000 yen a month, your premiums are calculated on the 50,000 yen.
That is insane. So you could be a literal billionaire, but if you structure it right, you pay less for healthcare than the guy managing the convenience store down the street.
Yes. The system effectively penalizes the honest salaryman whose income is easily tracked and taxed at the source, while rewarding those who understand how to manipulate income streams.
That feels incredibly broken. Why haven't they fixed this? Is there even a way to fix it?
The source suggests a solution that sounds technical but is actually quite revolutionary: a unified national health insurance system managed by the government using My Number data.
The controversial My Number card, I know people have feelings about that.
They do, but in this specific context, it would be used to track total income across all streams: salary, dividends, real estate, everything. If you tax based on total capacity to pay, rather than this fragmented system of associations and unions, you could close that loophole instantly.
It makes sense. If we are all shipping in for the same safety net, the calculation should be based on what you actually have, not which bucket you point to.
Right, but until that happens, the system remains regressive.
Okay, so premiums are maxed out and regressive. Taxes are unpopular. That leaves us with the third pillar you mentioned at the start, the debt.
Pillar number 3, government bonds.
Now, I've been hearing this my whole life. Japan has the most debt in the world, 250% of GDP. But the counter-argument is always the same. It doesn't matter because we owe it to ourselves. It's domestic debt. It's like a husband borrowing money from his wife. It stays in the household. Is that still true?
That was true for a long time. It was the security blanket that let Japanese policymakers sleep at night. But our sources indicate that this self-reliant model is collapsing. We are undergoing a massive macro shift.
Why? What changed?
To understand this, we have to look back at the postal savings era.
The post office.
Yes. Historically, Japanese grandmas and grandpas put their savings in the post office. The post office took that massive pool of cash, and because they were a government entity, they basically automatically bought Japanese government bonds, or JGBs.
Okay.
The government then used that money to build bridges and tunnels. It was a closed loop. The government had a guaranteed buyer for its debt.
Right. A perfect circle.
But then came privatization. Since Japan Post was privatized, it is now a business. It needs to make a profit. And here's the problem. Japanese government bonds have very low interest rates, very low yields.
So if you're the fund manager at Japan Post now, you look at a JGB and say, this doesn't make any money.
Exactly. Why would you buy low-yield JGBs when you can buy U.S. Treasuries or European stocks? So Japan Post is shifting funds to foreign assets for better returns. They are no longer the guaranteed buyer of Japanese debt.
So the government lost its biggest, most loyal customer.
And it's not just the post office. It's you and me and the listeners.
Us. How?
Think about NISA, the tax-free investing accounts that have become so popular recently.
Oh, sure. Everyone is doing NISA now. It's great for building personal wealth.
It is. But look at what people are buying. Are they buying Japanese government bonds?
No, they're buying the all-country funds. They're buying the S&P 500.
Which means they're taking their yen, selling it, and buying dollars or euros to invest abroad. This is a massive structural outflow of capital. The home bias, the tendency to keep money in Japan, is evaporating.
I see where this is going. We are taking our yen, selling it to buy foreign assets, which drives the value of the yen down.
Correct. This structural outflow is a major reason why the yen stays weak despite government interventions.
So if everyone is selling yen and nobody wants to buy Japanese government bonds, who is buying the debt? Who is funding the deficit?
That is the trillion yen question. And the source included a very striking image to illustrate just how desperate the situation is becoming. It mentions reports that the Ministry of Finance is now actively courting foreign investors. They are basically going door to door in Saudi Arabia and the Middle East.
Wait, really? We're going to Riyadh and asking them to please buy our debt?
Because the domestic market, the post office, and the individuals has stopped buying. The self-reliant model where we owe it to ourselves is vanishing. We are starting to rely on foreign capital to keep the lights on.
That feels incredibly risky.
It is. If you rely on foreign investors, you're at the mercy of the global market. If they decide they want higher interest rates to hold your debt, you have to pay them.
But we can't pay higher interest rates because the debt pile is so huge, right?
Exactly. That is the interest rate trap. If the government raises rates to defend the yen or attract buyers, the interest payments on that massive national debt explode, eating up the budget. But if they keep rates low, the yen collapses because everyone moves their money to America.
It's a vicious cycle. They are stuck between a rock and a hard place.
It's more like being stuck between a collapsing currency and national bankruptcy.
So let's zoom out. We've looked at the broken premiums, the unfair loopholes, and the drying up of the bond market. The source sums this all up as a triple whammy.
Yes. And when you put it all together, it creates a very difficult picture for the future.
Okay, lay it on me. Summarize the triple whammy for us.
Whammy number one, the domestic funding limit. The middle class's ability to pay premiums is reaching its limit. You simply cannot squeeze any more blood from that stone. People are already paying 1 million yen a year.
Right. Maxed out.
Whammy number two, the political trap. Politicians are promising consumption tax cuts to win elections. But if they do that, they crush the dedicated revenue source for pensions and medical care, creating a massive hole in the budget immediately.
Okay. So cutting income when expenses are rising.
And whammy number three, the debt crisis. The ability to cover the difference with debt is fading because the domestic buyers, the post office, and the people have left the building. We can't just print bonds and assume someone in Tokyo will buy them anymore.
So what does this all mean? Why should the listener who might just be trying to decide who to vote for care about this plumbing?
Because this isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. This is about the stability of the nation's safety net. If these three pillars crumble at the same time, the question isn't, how much will my tax cut be? The question becomes, will the ambulance come when I call? Or will my pension actually be worth anything?
That puts a very different spin on the election posters.
It does. The source argues that the discussion shouldn't be about tax cuts versus tax hikes. That's too simplistic. It needs to be about a total system redesign.
Redesign how?
We need to talk about who burdens the cost. Fixing loopholes so total income is taxed. Rethinking the elderly's contribution. Maybe those with assets should pay more so the working generation pays less. And stabilizing the currency so we aren't reliant on foreign debt buyers.
It sounds like we need to stop looking for the easy button because it doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly. The easy era of the post office buying everything and the demographic pyramid being shaped like a proper pyramid,
Yeah.
that's over.
Well, that is certainly a lot to digest. But honestly, I think it's better to know the truth about the plumbing than to just nod along to a catchy slogan and hope the toilet doesn't overflow.
Agreed. Knowledge is a first step to demanding better solutions.
So here's our final thought for you to take with you today. Next time you hear a politician promise a tax cut or a benefit increase, I want you to imagine that triple whammy. And I want you to ask yourself a provocative question.
If the middle class is tapped out and the government can't easily borrow from its own citizens anymore, who exactly is going to foot the bill for the most expensive aging society in human history?
Is it going to be foreign investors? Is it going to be hyperinflation? Or is the system going to have to shrink?
That is the question we should all be asking.
Take a look at your payslip this month. Really look at it. See where that money is going. It's your money and it's your future. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time.
Catch you later.